Welcome everyone, this is Pineleaf Needles and you are listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Andang,
Hey, everybody.
Terry Adwin,
Hi, hi.
Maven,
Hey, y'all.
Aeritheric,
Hello, everybody.
and Carvette.
At your service and your families.
And today at our little double header episode, we will begin with our game news. And our first item is that transfers off of closing servers begin on September 14th, which is the day that this podcast will be posted.
That's right. Pineleaf Vivian posted on the forums earlier this week saying that transfers off closing worlds will begin September 14th. And she says that the first two closing worlds will be Elindamir, US server, and Estel, which is an EU server. So they're starting with just one of each of the different zones of servers.
That's right.
Go ahead.
But while they are opening up the transfers from closing servers, they are going to keep transfers from the servers that are staying up closed for the time being because apparently some people were exploiting the system.
That's right,
Nonsense.
Pineleaf. And also, it's to give priority to the servers that are up now so that they can be transferred as quickly as possible and try to avoid any extra issues that happen. And also, like she said, transfers will still be closed for Brandywine until sometime later this year. And so if you
When
want to
they
find
get
out,
the new hardware.
and
Yes.
they get the new hardware. And so if you want to find out when your servers will be transferred, there are no dates, but if you go back to that list, which you can go to this article that we're talking about from our show notes, there's a list that she gave out a while ago that had the order of the servers, and that is the order they will be opening up transfers, so you can find out how long it is until your servers that you're going to get characters off of will open up. Obviously no set dates, but you can get an idea of about when it'll happen.
Yeah,
And
I
also,
I suspect that if all goes well, they'll be opening up a pair each week. But that assumes that all goes well, and we know past history.
Well, if they're
So,
planning to do in late fall the move to the new hardware and all that stuff, I would imagine that it would be at least one a week of each of from both sides. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah,
Arthur?
it'll
but
be
in
about
any,
mid-November if they did one a week, and that means that they could finish them up. Then right after that would be about due time for update 17, I guess.
Right, but they're wanting to do all that before they move to the new hardware. They suggested anyway,
Yeah,
assuming that the current hardware can handle that. So it'll probably be more than one a week eventually.
we'll have to see what happens.
but in any
Whatever
case,
happens, that is to be determined in the future. For now, we have one pair of servers starting up on Monday, and we'll see what happens after that. Now, what's on sale this week?
this week's free sample is a Universal Morale Potion times 5. Use coupon code
Yippity-doo.
9F7BC one time per account. Also, 25% off Gift of the Valar, Third Age Item Trove, and Legacy Scroll Box. Not excited by any of that stuff. I want a cosmetic sale. Listen up, developers at Turbine, we need a cosmetic sale. Pretty please.
Worsted cosmetic sale.
Worsted Cosmetics, regular cosmetics, cosmetic space, wardrobe space, all that other cosmetic fun stuff. Because we just had festivals, so now we have new cosmetics that need to go in there.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I should remember maybe sometime go to the festival and actually get some of them. All right, Loja Players News is sponsored by Fresh Air and Clean Waters. And our news.
Sometimes there's lag. And it's real, folks. It's real because the internet is a thing. It doesn't just affect Lotro. It affects all of us. But our friends at the Center for Middle-earth Resources and Environment, also known as CMER, bring you this service announcement. Sometimes you just gotta deal with the worst Middle Earth has to offer. Sewage backup in Urugarth, toxic spills in the Rift, fetching treasure chests in the absurdly far reaches of inland Belchworth, and even rotten eggs at Samson's farm. In situations like these, you need the strongest protection available to adventurers now from Helgecam Hazmat. Our suits are constructed with interwoven layers of mithril fibers for maximum durability. Then they are infused with a Hobbit proprietary formula of mushroom extracts for poison resistance. Additionally, air filtration is provided by power-infused gust of wind gas helms, handcrafted by certified lore masters using the latest wind lore technology. So next time you face the green monster, turn to Helchgam Hazmat. Karn Doom endorsed.
I think you should, Andy, you need to make like a just an ad reel. You know, like at the end of the year or something. Just all the ads.
That's a good point. Yeah, if you guys can get me the time codes, then I'll definitely go back and do that. So, awesome. Very good idea.
Now let's head into the LOTRO Players News section, and we'll begin with the start of a new series that we'll be running every other week after the LOTRO Players News broadcast, and that is Tales of the Free Folk. And it's time for the prologue.
Yes, well, Pineleaf, there was a prologue that got released earlier this week, and by earlier this week I mean earlier today because I forgot about it. And it basically goes through our frame narrative, if you will, for the show. Now, this won't actually be read on the first episode, but it is something that can give you an idea of what's going on at a different time during this. And also, we're thinking about having our frame narrative mention comments that viewers have and make them be integrated in as the some of the characters that are mentioned here other than the bard. And so they're kind of like asking questions and things like that will be mentioned in future articles. So it's kind of a meta frame narrative article series that's going along with Tales of the Free Folk.
All right. And we had the release of Chapter 2 of the Middle Earth lore. Ooh,
Yay!
Bree.
Finally!
Yay!
Yeah.
Finally, I can talk about Bill the Pony.
All right, Terry, why don't you talk about Bill the
Go
Pony?
ahead, Terry.
This was one of the biggest things that Anding and I fought over when it was in script.
It really was.
We argued like raised voices argued over Bill the Pony when it was in script version, and then QA came
And
back
Andang won.
and Andang won, and QA came back with notes from Maven, who was like, "Why are we spending all this time on Bill the Pony?" And my response was, "Because Andang wouldn't let me cut it." And then it was put together in with Brax's voice, and then the video was added, and it turned out to be okay. But I tell you right now, in the script, the Bill the Pony thing was the thing I hated the most.
Yeah, and it came out actually okay.
And scouring of the Shire for me.
Well, the thing is, if we didn't talk about Bill the Pony, then that's like half of Bree's story that's gone. Because not much happens in Bree. Like, the Shire looks like this horrible war zone by comparison.
Right.
Because nothing happens in Bree, for the most part, but we do cover everything that does
Well, I
happen.
mean, there's some thievery and mischief that happens there.
Well, nobody really cares about me.
There
Sure,
is
I know.
Pineleaf, and that made its way into this week's, or this episode of Middle Earth Lore.
Well, I watched it again today, and the positioning of that in the story actually works also because it comes right after the very dramatic, Mary fainting in the street from the Dark Rider backlighter being close by and stuff. So it's like this kind of heavy thing, and then the next thing you've got, Sam petting a pony. So it actually works pacing wise.
Yeah, it's the nice part about Bree.
Right.
It's the
He's
feel-good
why
story.
you'd ever want to go to Bree anyways, right?
So our listeners can address their hate mails to me to podcast@ultraplayers.com.
Right. And LOTRO Academy has a new episode. It's 11th episode.
Yay!
Awesome.
Skirmish
Bum,
Soldiers
bum, bum.
Revisited. That's right. We take a look at the skirmish soldiers under the current environment of Lotro and see how they operate and give our opinions on each of the soldiers.
Particularly about the Sage.
Mm.
I think we all had different opinions on the Sage.
I think
Yes.
so. It was very entertaining because I know your views going into it, and so hearing everybody else talk about it was very entertaining.
What was interesting to me when I listened to it again is Pineleaf's managed to set himself like 4 challenges during the course of this episode.
4 challenges?
Wow.
I actually lost count. I was like, wait, was that really another challenge?
Wow.
You need to go back and listen, Pineleaf, because I'm pretty sure it was 4.
Set myself 4 challenges. Okay,
Like-
I guess they must have slipped my mind.
Well,
Oh,
one of
actually,
them was
yes,
another
yes.
warden.
One of them involved. Okay, actually, there was one with the banner guard that was involved.
And one was a 5th warden.
It was
Yes.
crazy.
Yeah, there was a lot of them.
All right. I'll have to go back and re-listen to that to see if I could remember what all those challenges were.
I think I just default to herbalist because that's what people want you to do when you're in a group. And I'm like, nah, I don't got the time or energy or patience to deal with more than one skirmish soldier per character.
That's
Herbalist.
true.
Well, whatever.
No, I have actually used almost every single skirmish soldier, except protector on my awesome, protector on my guardian. That's just annoying.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Barnabas in the chat says you also need more Euro wardens so that you could have 10 wardens.
Well, we'll discuss that a little bit later.
Oh,
Oh. Oh.
And as for Lotrofication, Summer Nights in Middle Earth.
Brought to us by the wonderful Zinger, because he's awesome.
this is my favorite article by Zinger so far. It is hilarious.
I still cannot get that image of Elrond out of my mind.
My favorite one is the one with the dwarves because one is a certain way and he puts in extra stuff to make it work and it's
Slip and
hilarious.
slide, y'all.
Yeah, it's the same one with the Nazgul and the swimwear, which is pretty funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is just really good. And, you know, an Angmiram with a floaty.
Yeah. Although I did really like the warning sign on the Carndean pool, because
Yes.
dive in that pool.
Yeah, this was amazing. This was amazing.
If you've played Lotro, you will love it.
Yeah.
Even if you don't
you
play
haven't played
Lotro, it's
Lotro,
still
you
pretty
should.
funny.
All right. And our Lotro video highlights this week is another Russian video, Russian Drunken Sailor.
They have some of the best machinima, and this was another one that was really, really cool.
And creepy at parts.
And very creepy at times, yeah.
But so awesome. I mean, I don't know if they combined all those songs together themselves. I think they actually did. And so there's various Drunken Sailor songs that are just put into this compilation. And it works so well, and it's creepy at times, and it's just awesome. So I recommend it. It's really a cool video.
All right. And we also have another post by Kaylee Starshine, who now, this time, gives us 1,000 pictures from Attack at Dawn.
This
is part of the Spirit Gauntlet series.
And also part of Pine Leaf Weekend, just hung over till later. I mean, we had a skirmish from Lotro Academy coming out after Pine Leaf Weekend. We had Attack at Dawn. Like, Pine Leaf Weekend really impacted the community this week. So
Yes,
that was awesome.
Ah, yes. And considering how much I've been doing Attack at Dawn lately,
I can only imagine.
yes. But we'll be seeing more of that when I do my next skirmish guide.
I'm
All right.
sure.
And Faraway Breetown debuting an original composition. And that is by Forte Maestro, our guest from last week.
Yeah, Forte's been busy lately. He's been doing a lot more articles and things like that, and this is a really cool song.
All right. And we have Faraway Breetown debuting an original composition. Oh,
You just said that.
You just said
yeah,
that,
yeah.
Pine Leaf.
Okay, this is. I see
But we
all
can
these.
talk about it again if you
Congratulations for
want.
listening.
Yes, I'm seeing all these tags move all over the place. There we go. Small LOTRO Adventures returns with episode 28, where we continue with Bingo Boffin, and this time we have a merry fellow, and you have to try to guess for yourself who the merry fellow is. But the interesting thing about this particular episode is that for half the episode, I'm either passing by Lily Kate or standing next to Lily Kate or whatever. And of course, she doesn't notice it throughout the entire episode. Of course, she has the quest text up, and her quest text takes up almost her entire screen.
Well,
So
Pine Leaf,
that
if you
works.
didn't use that tree cosmetic, then maybe she would have realized that that was you.
Well, actually, I was a Bjorning.
Oh, well, that's not too far off then.
Yeah, she
Tree,
didn't recognize my
bear,
Bjorn.
it's the same thing, right?
Well, and they transform into things, you know.
Well,
What
there
have trees
is
turned
that.
into, Andy?
Well, Pine Leaf turns into a tree, was what I was saying. Anyway, we can move on.
All right.
Oh, the instant disguise. I see.
All right, so we'll head into the next episode of Poems of the Pine, where we look at Book 8, Scourge of the North. With Lorneil's loss, Laerden advised that we find the arms filched from Goladir. 3 ambassadors we brought to an end to take back his shield, mail shirt, and sword. Ere we gave the gear to Goladir, we had to repair the damage that was placed on it. We searched for smiths to smooth the dents and reshape the sword to be sharp and true. Then back in Carndum, the blight of the north, we returned to terror our terrible foe. Then Goladir drove Junakar home to send Mordorith to Mordor the Dark. The scourge of the north to the nether has gone, and hope we hold once more. But the Palantir was lost, and a lady quite old did steal it from its stand.
Pine Leaf,
So
I
you
really
just
want
made
to
me
see.
relive that whole thing all over.
Yeah, that
Man,
was
I
awesome,
she
first of
that
all.
whole experience.
That old lady is quite spry for her age, I must say.
Pine Leaf, I've decided that they need to bring back player books from the old Middle Earth Online and make it to where that your poems are the only player books that exist. And we would all love it because those are amazing, Pine Leaf. Great job.
They should hide them in various places in the game, and you have to. Then there's like an extra deed to find them.
And by various places in the game, we really mean skirmishes. So
Well,
that's
obviously.
Library skirmishes. You have to raid the library for knowledge.
Elrond's Library Skirmish Edition.
Heck yeah, dude. It'll be like that Lore Master class quest where you have to rifle through the shelves to find the right books before you get beat up. And
Like
every
the
time you
challenge
clear,
mode.
yeah, like every time you clear a bookshelf, you get a token and an achievement and a little ribbon. To
And
hang
a
in the
mean
book.
look from Elrond if you get noticed. Like that's the enemy. It's just Elrond's
And
mean
if you
like
make any noise, it's
yeah.
You have failed the challenge.
You failed the challenge.
But they
Or
say
the
it in a
challenge would
whisper.
be to make
You have
Elrond
failed
move.
the challenge.
Right, let's
it.
head into our new player question. And Maven, what's our question for this
Oh gosh. Okay. So I want to know: do I really need power potions, or for that matter, any other potions other than morale potions? I get them and I never use them.
Not on a
Yes.
Bjorning.
yes. Yes.
Is it a
yes,
class?
yes.
Is it a
Yes.
class related thing, or is it just a
Some-
yes, no matter?
Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. Power potions in particular, some classes have more power problems in long fights than others, depending on how you trait, like, and also depending on like your gear and your fate and stuff like that. So yeah, it's always a good idea to have power potions
Unless you're Bjorning.
because
Unless you're-
it's the
you're
worst
burning.
thing ever to run out of power. So
Right.
it's always a good idea to have them, even if you never really use them. So that way, when the day comes and you do need them, they're there. other potions than morale potions, there's four main ones. There's like disease, poison, wound, and fear, I think,
Yep.
Yes,
right?
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah.
correct.
They're kind of annoying to keep straight, honestly, and to remember to pop them in a boss fight or any fight. But um, this is where like the whole plugins thing comes in handy. There's a plugin called Palantir that I like to use mainly for this. And what it does is you have these little quick slots in it that you drag your pots into. So you have your stack of pots and
Oh.
you drag it into this little mini quick slot that only like kind of lights up when you have an effect that can be removed with that pot. So
I
you'll
use
get a little
buff
red
Well, that's
light
bars for the
cool.
shine up,
same
and then you
thing.
just doop and you click on the
Of
light,
course.
and then you pop your pot and you're good to go. It's really
Buff
handy.
bars
It's
also
easier than
has
trying to
some.
like keep track of the color of things underneath your character name, especially if you're colorblind like me. Um, is that red or green? Yeah.
Well,
Um,
that makes
so yeah,
sense.
it's definitely like buff bars can do it too, but I like Palantir because it lights up like right away, and it's really easy to configure. You just drag it over, and boom, you're done.
Yeah, and especially if you're going into like a spider area, then you obviously know you're going to get poison damage and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
you
exactly.
can
Well,
know
and
ahead of
I will
time.
say, as far as the power, I mean, I almost have this. I have an answer for this myself. There are some places and some instances, like for example, last weekend I was doing one of the in their absence quests, the oh gosh, Lost Temple quests, and instance, and there's the twins. There's twins that you have to get past, and they have shadow between them and stuff. Anyway, I was on my 100 level hunter, and we were way lower. We were like at 75 or something like that, and I was having power issues. Whenever I was in their aura, I was losing power, and I didn't have any power pots on me, so that was difficult. But so that's the other thing is I think it can also be contextual with whatever you're doing. The easiest example is like Old Man Willow. If you hang around him too long, you know, you
Yeah.
lose your power. But
Yeah.
but yeah, the other potions too is
And
like I
then
think that's a good idea. I mean, I just am sitting here wondering if I actually did use them because I've got them and they're sitting in my vault because I had them in my bags and just never used them. But something like what you're talking about, the plugins, either Buff Bar or Palantir, would be good. And I'm thinking it would make a difference in my play if I was actually mindful about using them.
and a
I do
thing about
have the disease, like so a lot of us, like the hunters, have in minstrel, we have the disease, like the poison
mhm.
skill. So I don't know if I actually need anything beyond that,
Yes
but
and
Well,
no. It depends, because like on a guardian, you have a skill that you can get to remove three effects at once. Anything you want, gone. Basically, if it's removable, it
right.
takes it off. But it costs like 400 power every time you use it. So you
Okay.
don't really want to use it unless you have three effects and you need to take them off. So if you can use a pot instead, it's good to do that.
Yeah, I
So
like
yeah,
having
like
both.
sometimes it's good, but again, like you have to keep your power in mind if it's a long fight, stuff like that.
right. And there
Yeah,
is a
that's a good
thing with
point.
the warden, for example. A warden has one that has. All right, it takes off one effect. It takes off one effect. I can never predict which one it's going to be sometimes. And but in addition to taking off one effect, it has a long cooldown. So therefore, if you're in cooldown and you get another one put on you, like a venomous blood arrow puts one of those arrows on you, and those arrows, some of them,
Mm-hmm.
if they tick down all the way, you are really in trouble. And if you've
Yeah,
got
right.
multiple on you, and let's say you've got a disease, a wound, and a fear on you, you want to get rid of the fear specifically, but you have a generic one, generic removal, probably it might remove the wrong one, and then you still got that fear on you. Now you're on cooldowns. So if you want to get rid of the fear, you would a pot would be useful for that situation.
The skill
Right.
generally removes whatever condition has been on you the longest. So the
Yeah,
first
that's what it
condition that was
seems
applied.
like.
Another thing is like just as a guardian, you think like, oh, we don't have that problem, but because like the skill that removes three effects is on a 5 second cooldown, which is great if you're tanking, but it, like I said, it drains your power. Like if you have 5,000 power and you're just using that skill, you're still out of power completely in a minute. So it's like, so part of it is like managing things without having to use your skills. That way you can save your skills for when you really need one. Um, excuse me. And another thing is for power pots, it's a good idea to use them early. Like if you see yourself and you're at half power, don't wait until you have power problems to use a power pot. Because if you do, then you won't be able to use a second one before the end of the fight. So if you like, you see, okay, a power pot's gonna give me back, 1,000 power. You go down and see, okay, I got 1,500 power that I've spent. I can use a power pot now. So you don't have to wait until you're running into power problems to use a power pot, especially if you know you're going to be in a longer fight.
Right. Right. Okay, good.
Right.
Thanks so much.
Another nice thing about the pots is that they're color coded.
Mm-hmm.
Red, yellow, green, purple. So I always organize them in my quick slots the same way by stoplight. Purple, red, yellow, green. So I always know which slot I want to pop based on what fear is on me, or whether it's fear, disease,
Right.
whatever. And
Just
I got into the habit of carrying them around as early as the Barrow Downs, because I would get so many of those stupid diseases on you that would suck all your power as you get tired of it. And now I'm like, as soon as I see something on me, I'm like, should I remove that? Yes. Especially if it's red. I hate walking slow.
One other thing about pots, you can get high level pots or higher level pots than what you need. Get the highest level pots that you can. I don't know if you can actually get level 100 pots right off the bat. They're more
They're
expensive.
expensive.
They're expensive, but you don't have to worry about is the pot that I'm going to use going to be high enough for this particular effect, etc. So like as soon as I could afford getting like a full 100 level, whatever highest level pots I could, I would get them. That way I knew whatever I ran into, I could remove it, no worries.
And that's like when I
And
go against a venomous blood arrow, and I say, "Why isn't that? Hey, I just took the pod. Why can't I remove this level 31 effect? Oh, I got a max of 30.
yeah,
Oops."
it's super
Yeah, see,
annoying.
I
And then you
always
have to remember to change them out every so often in levels, and it's just easier to get the super high level ones and be done with it.
Yeah, usually what I'll do is I'll buy like the level 55 pots at the Barrow Downs area, and then I'll use those, because if you buy a full stack of those, unless you're like an avid pot spammer, you are not going to use a stack of 50 between level 20 and level 50.
Yeah, probably.
So by the time I get to level 50, I've either used the stack fairly well, or I've got plenty of things to hand off to my alts as I go buy more pots.
But call for Philip Morris.
Sauron's
Moving on.
calling. Yeah.
Sauron's calling.
All right. Any other questions on pots?
No, that was great. You guys did great.
Then
Great.
let's
We're
head
getting
into
some,
our
some
week in
parts from the-
Lotro. And Anding, what were you up to?
Yes, well, I played bingo with Bombadil.
Ooh.
That's right, because those of you that know what goes on with Bingo Boffin, you know that it collided with Tom Bombadil. Hey do, Mary do, this week. So
See, he put that in just so he could do that. He had other
I
highlights this week, but that was
there's
just
a
so
good
he
chance
could-
that that might be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So Maven, what'd you do this week?
Selfies, and I'm not talking about the selfie that we took with the Witch King and all the wargs, which was an awesome selfie. I'm talking about the selfie that got taken. Actually, it's not quite a selfie, but when Grimadubs decided to pose in front of this enormous roving threat in Angmar. So we're running around, two angry hobbits and a well-dressed man around Angmar. We're in the swamps there in Melanad, and we already had seen one. We saw one of those, the big guy walking around.
What
So
is this thing?
we've
It's
done
it's one of those Kyrok deals from Moria.
we've done our quest, and we're on our way out, and all of a sudden this huge whatever
It's like the giant rock monster with the goo in between the boulders.
It looks like something
that
out
you
of
find in the
a
Moria epic.
Godzilla movie, right?
Yeah, it's
And
this
we're like-
giant thing.
We're like, oh my god! And what it does, it lays down and puts its claws over its head like it's gonna take a nap. So we're like, what do we want to do here? So Doc, being of course a guardian, goes
Me.
up and pokes it. Yeah, pokes it. And
Yeah, I'm
we're
running
like,
up to it, and they're like, "Are you gonna poke it?" Yeah, I'm gonna poke it. Are you out of your
like,
minds?
oh.
Yeah, probably.
so then
Yeah,
Greenwood
we
goes
were
up-
standing way back, like if it activates, I'm running.
Oh my god! If you look at the picture, which is hilarious. First of all, note the fact that Doc has red quests. I just want to note that. But if you look at the picture, there's Grimadubs roars at Amerdon. Grimadubs gestures rudely at Amerdon. Grimadubs poses before Amerdon. So it's like he's doing all this stuff. And then finally, all of us got really like freaked. It's like, we better get out of here, because it's like we didn't know if the guy was going to wake up or not. So that was definitely the highlight of the week.
Just like a
Awesome.
bunch of like teenage adventurers, like,
Yeah,
hey,
pretty
hey,
much.
poke it. No, you poke it. No, I'll
Yeah,
poke it.
exactly.
It's
Those are
like I
the
don't know what
things.
the activation
Basically what
script
it
is
was,
for that
yeah.
particular beastie, but we were like,
We couldn't
I'm
figure
not
it
gonna
out.
fight for it.
Yeah, what's going to activate this thing? And we're like, we don't actually want to be here to find out what's going to activate it. So we got the heck out
No,
of there.
not
But that was
really.
definitely. So, Carb, what about you? Besides that,
Well, actually, I had another one that was kind of not so interesting, but for the first time, and I think in a long time, that night, I really got an impression of how awesome this scale is in Lord of the Rings Online. And by that, the roving threat we nearly ran into before the giant rock monster was this, like, God, 4-story high troll. I
Oh
mean, this
yeah.
thing was ginormous. And we're in the swamp and we're killing stuff, and we're like, la la la, whatever. And then you turn around and you see this thing coming towards you. And of course, I've been playing for a long time, so I'm like, okay, it's another large thing, whatever. But usually all I can see is its kneecap when I'm tanking it. So we ran around to the side of it, which kind of happened to be up this hill. And so to give you an idea, I figure my character is about 6 feet tall. And this hill that we ran on top of was at least 12 feet tall. It was twice as high as I was. And I was standing on top of this hill watching this roving threat march by, and I'm looking at it eye to eye. So I've got my head at least 18 feet off the bottom of what was considered the lake bed, and I'm watching this thing go by, and I can only see like the top third of it. And I'm going, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Um, but yeah, it just really reminded me of how meticulous some of the details are in terms of the scale and the sizing of some of these things in terms of the monsters that you fight. I thought that was really cool.
Right.
Wow.
There.
Uh, did my Wednesday stream thing, and I did most of my game playing then. Um, I'm gonna cheat and do two things. I learned I'm terrible at burglar. Like I'm really bad at burglar. I died before. I think I died at level 9 in the spider den in Scary, so that was something that happened. But my main thing, speaking of spiders, was that I soloed Heligrod Spider on my Guardian, and I was very, very proud of myself. I died once in the final fight to a fatal poison I wasn't paying attention to, and I was annoyed because I didn't notice it and I didn't think it was that. I was like, "Is there a timer?" And then I went back in and I killed everything, and it was fun. I somehow got 2 chests out of it, so did something right. But yeah, that was about it.
And you ran that at level?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so you were in this scary spider pit, which is like one of the last parts of this Shire. It was like level 12 content on the level 9 burglar.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
How'd you
Yeah.
get that far? Did you just skip a bunch of stuff?
No,
Yeah.
I just no. Well, I might
No,
have.
you followed the epic story, so you kind of skipped a bunch of stuff.
Well, then yeah, I skipped stuff.
Okay.
But not the important stuff.
Not the
Well, I
important.
mean, honestly, it's not hard to suck that low level on a Berg. I mean, because
This is
Bergs
true.
just don't got no survivability. They don't got no survivability that level. There, you got to get yourself some of them shiny stabby things and good cured
Also,
leather.
yeah, also because I literally just come off soloing Heligrod Spider when you're killing like 60
Yeah.
million spiders at once, and I'm on a Guardian. I'm like, kill everything, bring it on. And
Yeah.
then I'm on like a tiny little burglar hobbit, going like,
Yeah.
kill everything, bring it on. And it's like,
Not
nope.
the skills. I can only stab one thing at a time. Oh.
So yeah, it was
Mm-hmm.
it was a lot of
Yeah,
fun. I had a lot.
that-
I had
that
way
was a
there was
super
way
hard
too many
transition
spiders
for
on my
me.
screen the entire night. But other than that, it was great.
Right. Terry?
Well, those of you who've heard me talk about my Runekeeper the last couple weeks will be probably unsurprised to hear that I was working on her this week, among all the other things. So my highlight is today she was a guest at Isengard, and she enjoyed her stay. Actually, she's the first character who has left Isengard instead of just progressing through the quests like the way you're supposed to, because I had to take her home and get her re-outfitted so that she was appropriately attired for her stay at Isengard.
Let's be honest, that's the important part.
That's the way Terry rolls.
Considering this is the character who has her entire vault full of like half of my cosmetics collection, like her storage vault is like all of the space that I can't, except for what you can buy with turbine points. So everything you can buy, 120 spaces, and about 100 of that is cosmetics. I had to start sending cosmetics to other alts because her vault got too full. So, and then I took some selfies and posted them on Twitter. So if you follow me on Twitter, you can do a search through my Twitter feed, and there's some really entertaining photos of Lashillian and Isengard. So, Pineleaf, what did you do this week?
All right. I decided to get around to creating my challenge characters. I had a couple of characters that I wanted to create. One was to be a completionist character, and another one was to do the leveling by skirmishes. I had created such a character earlier, but it was on one of the servers that was going to close down. So I dropped that when they did the server announcement. So I decided to resume it on and do these. So therefore, on Gladden, I'm doing a lore master that's going to try to be a completionist. So it'll be my first attempt to do as much as possible on a non-warden. And it's going to be real tricky since that's a cloth class now. And on Gwai here, I created a warden to do the skirmish challenge. And I chose Gwai here because that's one of the two servers that's remaining up where I don't have any marks whatsoever currently.
That's impressive.
So we'll see how that works out and see how well I survive.
And I bet if you create one on Gwai here, he can just fly your marks to other servers.
Let's go to news.
I just remembered we were supposed to like pull a lesson from our week in Lotro.
Were we?
Yeah.
Or like a pro tip or something
Yeah.
like
Pro
that.
tip: don't play a burglar like a guardian.
Don't skip too much content.
Yeah,
And
don't-
never play bingo with Bombadil.
No, do that.
Yeah, you really should do that.
Yeah, you should do that. That way you could be ignored by Lily Kate.
I think if you were a hobbit, she would have recognized you. Nobody expects you to not be a hobbit warden.
Maybe she was
Well-
role playing and was like, "Well, you're not Pineleaf. You're not a hobbit warden. I don't know non-hobbits. Gosh, so it's your own fault, Pineleaf."
Well, I did learn something cool about the cosmetic weapon system for Guardians this week. You can
Oh,
equip
yeah.
both a cosmetic two-hander and a cosmetic shield at the same time to an outfit. And whenever you switch from one-handed weapon and shield to a two-hander, the game is smart enough to figure out what should be equipped and automatically puts it in the slot for you. So I have a fashionista Hobbit Guardian right now that has a shield that matches each outfit. I have 3 slots unlocked. And whenever he switches back and forth between his two-hander and his one-hander, the appropriate shield and or two-handed weapon shows up when he switches. So that was pretty cool.
All right. Well, we currently have 17 supporters on Patreon. If you would like to join this illustrious raid of players and help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you will find rewards including a mention on the podcast of your choice or even be a guest with us for an episode of LOTRO Players News. And how far are we from the next goal?
Well, Pineleaf, surprisingly, even though we have the same number of patrons, we are now only less than $4 away from a 1-year VIP code for DDO.
Ooh.
That is really, really close. It would be awesome to be able to do a 1-year VIP giveaway for DDO. And right after the DDO giveaway is a LOTRO giveaway. So if we can get the DDO unlocked, we'll be that much closer to a 1-year LOTRO VIP giveaway. So getting close to some big rewards, Pineleaf.
And I just want to say, like, with Patreon, the cool thing is that it adds up. Everyone can do like, yeah, $1 a month, and it's not gonna like kill anybody's wallet, but it adds up ridiculously super coolly fast.
It really does. If all of our Players Alliance regular fans, not even like just guests that come in, but if all of our regular fans gave $1 a month, we could probably have one of us doing this full time, which would be amazing. So.
All right. And Barnabas left a comment on LOTRO Players News episode 114. The eye of LOTRO Players News never sleeps. It is true. I did write that little ditty and was quite shocked to hear it on the news. All bow before the all knowing LPN.
So can I just say again that that was really awesome, Barnabas? And I'm really
Yes,
glad
it
that I
was.
spotted that it was you.
It was really awesome, and you don't have to bow before us, but we'd love a review on iTunes. That would be just amazing. And you can go and over and give us a review on iTunes because it'd be cool.
But you can also bow before us if you want to. It's okay.
No, you really don't need to do that.
And we have an email from Glambold. And Terry, could you read that?
Sure. Inspired by Pine Leaf, I decided to get a new title for my main in LOTRO, which you can see in the attached screenshot, which is a screenshot of his character with Glambold Skirmisher of Middle-earth. It is a huge grind, but very rewarding to have done it. Probably the hardest title that I have got so far, as I do not PvP. This character is world-renowned and Thane of Heightbold. Why on Middle-earth would you want to do it more than once? Pine Leaf's done it how many times now, Pine Leaf?
I have done it 14 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just want to read something from Barnabas in the chat. He says, if everyone gives just $1 a month, we might be able to feed all Pine Leaf's wardens.
They're Hobbit wardens too.
Even if they're
Oh,
Hobbit
that's gonna be a
wardens,
steep
I mean, just take in that 14 times for a minute. Keep in mind, that means Pineleaf has to get high enough for all the skirmishes in the first place. And then he has to do them enough times to get Skirmisher of Middle-earth. That's just amazing, Pineleaf. Really amazing.
All right. And seeing that I've got a completionist character and a skirmish leveling character that I'm doing that may turn into 16 at some point in the future, you could contact us with an email to podcast@lotroplayers.com. You could also follow us at Twitter, the Players Alliance @PlayersAlly, Lotro Players @LotroPlayers, Andang @PVMP_Andang, Aerithert @Aerithert, Carvet @CarvetLP, Maven @TolkienMaven, Pineleaf @Pineleaf Needles, and Terry Adwin @Terry Adwin. The Players Alliance has 3 live shows. Did
We have 2 live shows now, Pineleaf.
what?
Sadly, Guild Wars Players News is probably no longer going to be a show.
Well, that was
After
the shortest coast ever.
after doing some test episodes and some other things, DJ realized that he probably wants to do a different kind of show. And so then, because Drac was just filling in for a bit, that would leave just Mel. And so we decided that we are going to end that show. And so that's the first show that we're ending on the Players Alliance. But it has gone for 38 episodes, which, if you think about podcasts, that is pretty impressive just by itself. So
That's
hats off to Sithrit, Thalros, and Drac for making that happen. That's just amazing that they went for even that long. And definitely a really cool thing. And DJ is planning a show possibly for the Players Alliance. So we might be having a show sometime in the future, another show sometime in the future, but for now, we are down to 2.
All
Plus
right,
Tales of the Free Folk.
very well. We have 2 live shows every single week. On Mondays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News. And on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Lotro Players News. So every other week, the Lotro Players News will be followed by Tales of the Free Folk. And you can join us for our live shows at lotroplayers.com/live. And remember, tonight will be our first episode of Tales of the Free Folk, which will be right after Lotro Players News. So check the LPN chat for the live video link. Thank you everyone for listening, and this is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.